This was our second unusual winter in a row. And what's fascinating is my climatology colleagues say it's the Arctic that's controlling our winter weather. In fact, one of my colleagues said, what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. So we saw an unusually warm winter up to the north with right now record low ice in the polar seas, but down here the cold was displaced into our area. Now this has implications for what's coming up this spring. This spring, unlike last year when we were already in the 80s in March, we're having a slow progression into spring. That's good for all the plants to slowly come out of dormancy instead of suddenly shifting into summer temperatures. Now, water worries me. It's been a relatively dry winter, and right now, Colorado, much of that area is below normal in snowpack. The only above normal snowpack is way up in Montana, so that would benefit the Missouri River. But the Platte River right now looks like it might be moisture starved as we go into the spring and summer. That worries me. We're in a moist cycle, so I don't anticipate a drought increasing over our area, but we will have that concern. There has been a drought all winter long off to our south. So we're watching. Is that drought to our south going to move into our area? Could it produce what we call a flash drought? Too early to tell. The good news is we're slowly moving out of winter, allowing plants to come out of dormancy. We don't know yet whether there's any damage that was done with that very hard freeze going well below zero back at the Christmas week into the New Year's. We'll have to see as things come out of dormancy. That could especially affect decorative vegetation. My expectations are we're not going to have extremes this year like last year. So I'm not looking for 80-degree temperatures anytime soon. I'm looking for a slow progression into spring, through spring and into summer. There's no indication at this time that we're going to have a lack of moisture. The drought to our south does worry us. Is that going to spread into our area as the atmosphere heats up going into summer? We were controlled by the Arctic for our winter. That influence stops right around now as we go into spring. So our spring and summer pattern will be controlled by the climate, and that is we're in a moist pattern, we're not in a drought cycle, and it looks like no major heat waves. If you're not in a drought cycle, you're not going to have that extended period of time with temperatures above 100. My advice for gardeners is to hold off a little bit because it's probable that we're going to still have some below freezing temperatures. Last year we were well into spring by the middle of March. This year things are delayed a little bit. Some garden centers are setting up around town. I'd be hesitant at this point to put anything that's tender outside and just anticipate that it'll be a delay to the start of spring temperatures.